Wel, prynhawn da pawb and croeso ac ginio ar y hyd. Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Happy Cymru Cook Along. My name is Richard and heddiw, today, we are celebrating, as you can see on the notice board just beside me, Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. Yes, it is an actual celebration day and it is today. So you can legitimately get out your sandwich makers or your little non-stick frying pan and have toasted sandwiches for your evening meal tonight. Now then, I got two lovely recipes that I'm going to be showing you this afternoon, but as with all of the cook-alongs, now that I've got my computer bits all sorted, I just quickly need to go and wash my hands. So this is, looking on my imaginary clock, this is your 13-second warning. Yes, I've already washed my hands, but I'm just going to redo them as well. Your 13-second and 45 millisecond warning to go and grab yourself a quick drink, a pen and a piece of paper if you want to make some notes, and I will see you in 13 seconds and 30 milliseconds. Bear with me and I will be back. Well, prynhawn da, if you've just joined me, I'm just quickly washing my hands and I will be back in the room in less than 5 seconds. So let me just grab myself a little paper towel. That goes into the bin. I just need to grab also a dishcloth. So let me pop my damp dishcloth just over here. A little bit of antibacterial gel on my hands. And you'll be pleased to know that I am now back in the room. So as always, I'm going to start off now with my official part and then it will go downhill from there. So once again, the official part for me this afternoon is prynhawn da pawb and croeso ac ginio ar y hyd. Good afternoon everybody and welcome once again to the Happy Cymru Cook Along. My name is Richard and as I already mentioned right at the start of today's video, or film, or live film, whatever we're doing this afternoon, we are doing and celebrating Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. Yes, it is a real day, and yes, you are allowed to have grilled cheese sandwiches for your evening meal, right? So scrap whatever else you're doing, it's grilled cheese sandwiches tonight, okay? So what we are going to be doing today, I've got two varieties of grilled cheese sandwiches. The first one is a really quick and easy one, and it's great for the kids to do, particularly when they've just come home from school. And yes, they're all back in school this week, right? Particularly when they come home from school, it's a quick snack, sort of bruschetta or toasted cheese sandwich, which is so quick it's unbelievable, and it really allows them to have that little healthier snack when they come back in from school or playing or something like that. And if they make it, they're more likely to want to eat it. And then I've got a more grown-up one, and we are going to be doing a Mediterranean vegetable toastie, cheese toastie, which I promise you, once again, is absolutely, in the words of my West Walian friend, cowin lash, right? Because I had it for lunch today and it really is cowin lash. So what I'm hoping if will happen, if I just press that button just there, yes it just has, you can see that the recipe card for our quick snack bruschetta or open toasted cheese sandwich is actually on the screen for us now. And I'm just going to, I can see it on a very small screen just there, and I'm just going to open it up on my other screen because you can see it a little bit better than myself. Let me just pop that just over there so I'm able to see it. Okay, so once again, you've got the recipe here, I've got the recipe on my screen over there, and the first thing that we need is we need a type of bread, right? And I've just chosen today to use this part bake sort of roll. I know that the recipe card says on there ciabatta or French bread, right? I've chosen to use the little sort of French part bake sort of rolls. I've chosen the wholemeal ones, which means that we're starting to also increase the fibre content. What I have done to this is I've opened it up And because we're going to be rubbing some garlic on there, what I've done is I've slightly toasted. Now what you could do, you could just pop it straight into the toaster. It could be ready in the toaster for when the kids come back in from playing or from school, right? And then they just pop it into the toaster. And then the next thing is they're going to infuse it with a little bit of flavour, right? And to infuse it, we're just going to use a tiny amount of garlic, right? And I've got some fresh garlic here. That's obviously a little bulb, and I'm just going to grab myself a little clove out. And I don't know what's happened here. I got butterfingers this afternoon and it's not quite working. Let me just grab that. There's lots of outside papery sort of edging on this one. So remove the papery skin and you should end up, still can't do it, there we go, with a little bulb of garlic or clove of garlic, just like that, right? And all that we're going to do, we don't have to peel it. All that you need to do is, if I grab myself a little knife, all I'm going to do is just cut it in half, just like that, to release the centre, right? And that's going to give you that lovely garlic sort of smell, right? Then the next bit couldn't be easier, okay? You've got your little piece of bread. It's already been toasted. You're just going to rub it on just like that, right? And I do this when I am allowed out and about, right, into the community and into schools, in nurseries and sort of reception classes all over the place, and the kids absolutely love it, right? Because when we're rubbing it on, I tell them that they have to be super quiet and they need to rub as fast as they can. And when all 20 of them are rubbing on, it's wonderful little noise, right? And I say, can you hear that? And they go, yeah, like that, right? So we're just going to rub that on. I can then turn it over. I quite like it garlicky, so I'm going to turn that one over just like that. And I'm going to do exactly the same to this one. You can see this was the top bit, but I just slightly removed the top sort of layer of the bun, just so that it would sort of rest nicely onto there. So that's as quick as it is, right? And that smells purely of garlic. It's wonderful. I make garlic bread like that all the time, right? So all that we're going to do, we're going to go one stage further than the garlic bread. So I'm going to pop those and rest those onto my little baking tray. I might pop them into the centre. Then the next thing is I've got a little bit of vegetable oil, right? And this little bit of vegetable oil will basically, okay, I'm just going to brush it on just like that. You could use a little back of a teaspoon if you haven't got a pastry brush. So they just pop a bit on and they spread it over however you want to do it, right? It's probably easier with a teaspoon if I'm honest, okay? Plus you don't have to wash that bit. And that just gives it a nice shiny sort of texture, but more importantly, it helps to crisp everything up, right? So I'm just going to pop that back there, and I need that for afterwards, so I'm going to leave those just over there. Then I've got my toppings, right? I'm going to add my cheese right at the end. So here I have got some tomatoes, and the children or you can add whatever vegetables and fillings you want. So I'm just going to pop my tomatoes on just like that. So I've got 5 little cherry tomatoes going on just like that. They're cut into quarters for me already. In actual fact, I'm just going to put 4 on, right? Just as so. And I'm going to be mega fussy. I'm going to make sure that they are all in the right direction, right? Then I have got some green pepper. So I'm going to pop some green slices of pepper just through the middle of those. So you've got a nice little pattern. And obviously you would have a bit more time to do this. I've got some frozen sweet corn just there. I'm just going to pop a little bit of frozen sweet corn. Now, if you haven't got these little ciabatta rolls, or you haven't got these little part-baked rolls, you could easily do it on a slice of bread, right? It's so easy, it is unbelievable. So I'm just going to pop those on just as so, just like that. You'll have a bit more time. Don't overfill, because everything will start to fall off, right? And then the last thing that I've got is I've got a couple of black olives, and this is just to add a little bit of extra flavour and a little bit of colour. So I'm just going to pop those on just as so, right? So I'm just going to add 2 little halves of black olives just like that. And the final thing is I have got my cheese. Now then, when it comes to cheese, you could use mozzarella, which would make it lovely and stringy, and that would be traditional on a sort of bruschetta. However, right, when we're thinking about that recommended daily amount of cheese, right, it's really depressing, even for the younger ones, right? The recommended daily amount of cheese is 30 grams or 1 ounce, right? And that is approximately the size of a little matchbox, right? Not the massive matchbox, but the size of a little matchbox. So the message is, rather than using mozzarella, which has its place on pizzas, right, try and use a mature flavour, because you can use less of it to get that cheesy flavour, right? And the other message is always make sure that you grate it, right? So I've got my 2 graters just here. As I've shown you before, I'm not going to teach grandmother to suck eggs once again, but try not to go grate. Always onto a flat surface. You grate down, move away, grate down, move away, grate down, move away. And by doing it that way, particularly if the children are watching you, you're teaching them a good practice, and hopefully you won't cut your fingers, right? The other option is to go to one of the major sort of Swedish furniture stores, right? Down in Cardiff Bay, round by the Senedd, right? And all that you're going to do is purchase one of these. You go down the steps into the kitchen aisle, and it's on your left hand side, right? But, okay, and all you're going to do is turn and turn and turn and tap, turn and turn and turn and tap, try a throw, a throw, a tap, try a throw, a throw, a tap. And you can see that is my 30 grams of cheese, and when you compare it to that, it goes a lot further, right? So all I'm going to do is pop on a little bit of my cheese, just as so. Make sure you press it down because you want it. I know that we're hiding all the toppings, right? And that really does bother me. I've got a friend and colleague who always does it this way, and I always tend to do it the other way. But if you do it like this, nothing should fall off, right? So all of that goes on just the top like that. Any cheese will sort of melt down the centre and onto the edges, and all that you're going to do is you're then going to either pop them under the grill, a medium to low heat for about 5 to 6 minutes, just until the cheese is melted and the bread has started to go a nice golden brown, because obviously you've added that little bit of oil. Or you can bake them in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, which is what I'm going to do today. And if you're baking them in the oven, all you're looking at is about 190 degrees centigrade, and that is approximately gas mark 5, right? So that's our quick snack bruschetta. I'm going to leave those bits just there, because the next one that I have got is my grilled cheese sandwich. And I promise you, as I said earlier, I had this for my lunch today, and it is absolutely cowing lush, right? So all I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how to make it in 2 different ways, right? First of all, in my trusty little sandwich maker that I've got heating up just there. And if you haven't got one of those, don't panic. You can also do it just in a normal sort of frying pan. You can even get those little toaster sort of toasty bags, can't you? So you could even do it in that as well, right? So however you want to do it, it works out really, really nicely. And actually, thinking about those little toasty bags, right, what could be better than when we are allowed to go back out to work, right, and you're in work, what could be better than popping that in, and you've got a lovely cheesy sort of roasted vegetable sort of toasty. So let me move on to our roasted vegetable sort of toasty. Let me bring those just there, and if I just click that, I'm hoping that that recipe card has now disappeared, and if I click again, I'm hoping, yeah, there we go, it's just come up for our roasted vegetable sort of toasty, right? And you can see that you need a few more ingredients. I'm just going to change my other one just over here, so bear with me just 1 second, because I've got all the ingredients in front of me, but I can't see the recipe card. So what we've got this does require a little bit more preparation, right? But once you've prepared the roasted veg, they will last happily in the fridge for a few days, right? So you can easily use them for lots of different things, right? And basically, all that we're going to do is we're going to end up with some roasted vegetables just like that, right? And they're going to go in our sandwich, and I promise you, they are absolutely delicious. So I'm just going to pop those just there. Now for our vegetables, what you can see just on there is I have got a selection of red onion. I've got 2 different peppers. I've got green and red peppers just there, and I've also got a courgette as well, right? I wanted to talk a little bit about the courgette, right? If I'm honest, courgettes not quite in season, okay, at the moment, but they are going to be coming into season in June, sort of July, August sort of time, right? And if I'm honest, they're not my favourite vegetable. And until I discovered, if you remove the central sort of seedy bit, they become your favourite vegetable, because that central seedy bit, when you cook it, becomes really, really soggy, and I didn't like that texture, right? I love the flavour, but I didn't like that texture. So if you take those seeds out, it becomes nice and crunchy. So this is how I like to prepare my courgette. Everything else, my peppers have just been cut into little strips, and I've just diced and quartered my onions, right? But for my courgette, all I'm going to do, you can see the little seeds just there, right? And all that we're going to do is use a little spoon and just scoop them out. It's so easy, it is unbelievable, and it takes it from a vegetable that's not my favourite thing to one of my favourite vegetables, because it's not so soggy. So all I'm going to do, and if you've got children helping you in the kitchen, they can easily do this as well, right? So literally, I'm just going to scoop it out just like that. You end up with it just as so. Now if you were doing a courgette soup, you probably wouldn't have to worry about this, but if I'm doing roasted vegetables or French ratatouille or anything like that, I normally take those seeds out, right? So let me just grab myself pop those into there, I'll use that afterwards, a little waste compost bin, and I can pop that into the compost afterwards. So you end up with it all scooped out. You can see it's that sort of shape, and what we're looking for is little strips, right? So all I'm going to do is just cut them down like that, and basically all of those vegetables, once you've prepared them, you're going to coat them in 2 teaspoons of oil, just 2 teaspoons, don't need any more, right? Then you've got some flavourings. As you can see on there, my flavourings are mixed herbs and a little bit of garlic granules. And I like using garlic granules because they don't burn when they go in the oven, right? So if I put normal freshly chopped garlic, they would start to burn, but garlic granules don't burn, right? In addition to that, I've started to add more flavours. So I added my trusty smoked paprika, about half a teaspoon of that. I like it quite spicy, so I also added some crushed chilies, and I'm going to add my black pepper and my parsley afterwards. So let me pop those vegetables just over there, and then I can show you how to make these delicious toasties. I'll just check on that one. I'm just going to bring up a little bit of noise now. I'm just going to turn my little sort of pan on just there as well, right? So what I've got is I just got some wholemeal bread just here. I like to use the thick sliced when I'm making my toasties because it gives it a nice sort of firmness and keeps and holds everything together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 different varieties today. And the first thing that we're going to do, the key when you're making toasties, is to make sure that you've got a nice sort of crispy outside. Traditionally what I would do, okay, is put some butter on, right? But we're trying to move away from butter, so what we're going to do is just brush on a little bit of vegetable oil, just like this, right? So literally all I'm going to do is just brush my vegetable oil. It doesn't need to be soaking wet, just a little bit of oil on just like that, and I've got it all over the table there. So let me move that closer, that would be more sensible. And all that I'm going to do is put the oil sides down on the chopping board, right? Because what will then happen is I just need to pop those on just like that, right? So let me just brush those bits on just like that. So that's one, and I've got my final one just there, and I've got two just like that. So I've got my 4 pieces just like that. And as I said, I'm going to do one in the toasty maker, and I'm going to do one just in the little frying pan just there. Then I've got to add my fillings, right? So I'm going to add a little bit of pesto to start with, and I'm just going to add just 1 teaspoon of pesto onto each of those. Now, you don't want too much more because pesto is quite an intense sort of flavour, but it's really, really tasty as well, right? So I'm just literally just going to spread, and I like to spread with the back of my spoon, and in actual fact, if you spread with the back of the spoon, right, it makes it a lot easier. And even if you've got teenagers in the house, right, when they're trying to spread with a table knife, I used to see it in school all the time, right? They sort of stab rather than spread. So by using the back of a spoon, it makes it a lot easier, right? So just make sure that you have spread all of that around just as so. The next thing is I have got my roasted sort of vegetables. So I'm just going to add a layer of my roasted vegetables just onto there, just as so. Make sure that you've got all those lovely sort of flavours, and I'm going to do exactly the same to this one. I would like to put them all in the same direction because that means that they'll cook a little bit easier, and it's easier to fold it down as well, right? So you've got those bits just there, that's a bit full. So you could add whatever vegetables you wanted to that. Then the next thing is I have got my cheese, and I can actually move that just behind me now. I'm quickly running out of space. I don't know why I'm running out of space today, but let me just pop those just there. I've got my cheese. I'm going to use my Swedish grater. It's not Swedish, it's from a Swedish shop. So pop that in, turn and turn and turn and tap, turn and turn and turn and tap, try a throy, a throy, a tap, try a throy, a throy, try a throy, a throy. So I've got my little bit of cheese just there. You'll see that the recipe card says 40 grams, right? So you're having about 20 grams, but really you probably don't need that much, right? Just need enough cheese just to pop it in just like that and press it down, right? So it all stays sort of together. Then literally, once all of that is on just so, I'm just gonna tidy those bits on just like that. I'm literally just going to pop that on just as so. Now, common sense, right? That's now a little bit wet, right? And I've got oily hands. So common sense would be to oil it afterwards, right? But I haven't got much sense today. So literally, those two are ready. So I can pop those ones just over there. Let me just check that one. That's doing okay. So I'm going to pop those ones just over there, just as so, just for now. And the next thing is I have got to cook these. So let me grab myself a fish slice, and I'm going to cook one in my little sandwich toaster just here. I've had this one for about 5 years now, right? But you could use those traditional sort of ones that shape them out. I used to have them with baked beans when I was a child, right? Baked beans and cheese, my favourites, right? But I'm just going to pop that on just as so. It'll cook in about 4 to 5 minutes. I'm not going to press it down or anything like that. So let me just move that around. I'm going to let gravity cook it down. So, as I said, I've been also heated up my little frying pan now. It's on a medium to low sort of heat. So I'm just going to pull this out just like that. And the great thing about using your non-stick frying pan is that you don't need to add any extra oil, because all the oil that we need is actually on there, right? So this could go one of two ways, right? I'm hoping that it'll go the correct way. So I'm going to pop it with the cheese side down first of all, so hopefully it'll stick everything together on a low to medium heat now, right? So once it's in, all you're going to do is just cook it on a really, really low sort of heat. So I'm just going to allow that to cook off. and I can pop that just there, and I'm hoping just whilst these are cooking off, yes, they're done, you can see that my little quick snack bruschettas or quick snack open cheese toasties have now cooked off, and they smell absolutely fantastic. That garlic has cooked off, really super tasty, and you see that cheese has melted. Absolutely fantastic. Right, now then, I'm going to serve those. You could serve them with a little side salad, but personally I don't think it needs a little side salad because it's just a little quick snack, right? So all I'm going to do is pop those straight onto there, just as so. I'm going to take it one stage further. I'm going to add the final bit of flavour, and that's just going to be a little basil sort of topping sort of oil, right, or dressing, and that's basically a little bit of pesto with a small amount of our oil, right? Try not to add anything else to it. So 1 teaspoon of oil, and you can see that I end up with just my basil pesto sort of slacking down a little bit, and I'm just going to drizzle just a little bit on, just as so, and you have got, that takes it from a child's recipe to an adult's or teenager sort of recipe, and you can see that you've got those delicious little quick snacks. And just to finish it off, I think it needs a little bit of the obligatory parsley on the plate as well. So we've got that one just there, and let me have a look. Oh, that toastie's cooking off nicely. I've got this one cooking off. I'm hoping that it's not burnt. It might be a little bit burnt, right? But I'm just going to turn it over. It's not burnt, it's caramelized, right? So I have slightly burnt that one, but we can scrape that off afterwards, right? How embarrassing, right? I was getting excited about that and not watching this. So don't do what I've just done and burn it a little bit, right? These live things, I can't do anything about it now. It's really embarrassing, right? But make sure that it's only cooked. I'm just going to do a little bit of scraping, right? Make sure it doesn't, there we go, right? No one will ever know now. So I'm just going to scrape that off just like that. It's not burnt, it's just well caramelized, right? How embarrassing. So I was getting too excited about those big snack bruschettas. So I'm just scraping off the burnt bits. Excuse me 1 second. There we are. I'm just cleaning off my little spatula, and I'm hoping that you can see, oh, that is what it's more like, more recommended to look like rather than the burnt bits, right? So, phew, I've got myself out of that little scrape. How embarrassing. So, I've got that just there, and I'm going to quickly turn that off. I'm going to make sure that's not burnt either. So, all that we're going to do is, those two are ready. I'm just going to grab myself my little cloth. I'm just going to wipe over my table just here. Now don't forget, if you've got any comments about today's session, then please do pop them in the comments page on the Facebook page, and either myself or one of the HAPI team will be pleased to answer. Also, as I mentioned the other day, if you have got any ideas of different recipes for us to make, you might have a recipe that you've been wanting to know how to make for years and years, then please pop it into one of the comments pages, and we will do our very best to make it for you in the future. I'm not running out of ideas, but it's always nice to have some suggestions from yourselves as well. So I've now got those ready, so let me grab that one just here, and I need a little chopping board, so bear with me just 1 sec. I'll use this little white chopping board just here, and I've got my not burnt toastie whatsoever, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that in half just as so. And if I cut it in half just like that, wow, this looks fantastic. And you can see that the cheese has melted. The roasted vegetables are just there. And if I hold it up, you have got your roasted Mediterranean vegetable little cheese toastie just there. And I can bring this one out just like that. So this one is more like one that you get from one of those little Starbucks or Costas or something like that. In actual fact, I think I've had a roasted vegetable sort of toastie from Costas, right? And you can see that it's a third of the price, right? Because they are quite expensive. And you can see, let me grab myself just another little one of these. It's not a plate, but it'll do just fine. And you can see that you have got your two styles of little Mediterranean vegetable little paninis just there, and they both smell absolutely fantastic. So that brings me to the end of today's cook along session. I hope that you have enjoyed watching, and I hope that you are inspired to celebrate Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day this afternoon. You can't see the sign because I haven't removed the recipe card. There we go. So Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day just there. Don't forget that all the recipe cards are available on the Facebook page as well as our website. I look forward to cooking with you again, and I will see you Thursday at 4 p.m. I can't quite remember what I am making, but I will see you at 4 p.m. So, diolch yn fawr for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy grilled sandwich evening, and I will see you on Thursday. Diolch yn fawr and coginio hapus.